As a Fortune 500 financial services leader, we need a talented and diverse pipeline to manage our business. Our clients require us to be reliable and responsible partners in the way in which we do business, the products and the services that we offer, and the relationships that we foster. At State Street, we truly believe that our people are our greatest asset. We recognize the need to attract and retain a skilled and talented employee in order to remain competitive in today's global knowledge-based economy. This is why we make it a priority to invest in the communities in these partnerships that support the economically disadvantaged through education and workforce development. The focus aligns very nicely with our business model. Our company does not just need, but requires an educated workforce, and we want every member of society to become gainfully employed and participate in savings and retirement planning for their futures. This is made clear through our community investments in organizations that support high-risk youth like the one you just heard from, Street League, based in the UK. State Street directly funds, on average, 1,500 employment opportunities annually through our job placement sources from community-based organizations, often for the first time jobs that basic needs and readiness skills are offered to employees entering the workforce for the very first time. We partner with organizations such as Year Up, which you're going to hear a little bit more about today, to support employee programs that help feed our talent pipelines with a qualified and diverse group of talented young adults. Year Up is a one-year intensive program whose mission is to close the opportunity divide, the gap between talented urban youth adults with livable wage careers, by providing students with the skills, experience, and support that they need to realize their full potential in the workforce. State Street and Year Up enjoy a very deep partnership because it's proven for us to be a win-win, and for Year Up, it's a win-win for their organization as well. From a community perspective, State Street is proud to support Year Up because it provides youth with the personal and professional development skills that they require to be successful in today's competitive marketplace. On the business front, Year Up provides State Street with a deep source of entry-level employees suitable for our information technology and our asset servicing business lines. Last year, we hired over 200 Year Up interns directly into State Street. We also provide great emphasis on employee engagement and talent retention programs. As the workforce of the future is changing, we recognize that the most successful organizations will be the ones that appeal to prospective employees of all backgrounds. Through our global inclusion effort, we provide support and sponsorship to over 32 employee networks with over 100 chapters globally. These networks serve as powerful business resource groups and talent engines, if you will, that really help assist in extending our talent acquisition strategies with organizations such as Alpha, which you heard from Manny Espinoza, Alpha's CEO. At State Street, we have close to 13,000 women, making up approximately 45% of our global workforce. Ensuring that our workforce reflects the diversity and the ethnicity of all the areas of the world in which we operate is a clear demonstration of our ability to demonstrate our corporate value of being both a global force and a local citizen. In addition, our company continues to become more global, and we're always looking to discover new ways to engage our employees on a global basis. State Street's support of our employee network groups, many of which meet across the borders of countries where we have offices, allow employees to interact, discussing issues through global networks and a global lens. No matter where our employee networks are based, they provide our employees with the networking and development opportunities on a global basis. Having this additional support allows employees to share solutions and work on related issues and internal career opportunities. We leverage our resources to positively impact our communities as well. Our corporate citizenship programs offer a number of opportunities that provide employees the opportunity to donate, volunteer, and help to protect the environment. Examples of these are our Global Outreach Program, our Global Giving Campaign, and work through our State Street Foundation, as well as our Office of Environmental Sustainability. Perhaps the most impressive is the dedication of our employees throughout the world that have the community and corporate responsibility in mind. State Street staff donated more than $2.5 million matched by State Street's foundation in 2012. And globally, our employees volunteer an impressive 87,000 hours each year. With corporate responsibility at the heart of our business, we're confident in our ability to contribute to a better future. We recognize that sustainable growth comes from operating with absolute integrity in a way that respects our shareholders, customers, employees, communities, and the environment. Our dedication is to ensuring a global and inclusive workforce where employees feel valued, engaged, and respected.
Again, my name is Casey Recupero. I have the honor of leading Europe's team in Boston, where we work with State Street. And at its core, and you saw this in the video, Europe provides low-income young adults with an opportunity to move from poverty to professional careers in just 1 year. And the premise of that, if we really go back, is if you're able to provide employers with, as Allison frequently says when I hear her talk about this, a better pool to fish in when you're looking for your sustainable workforce, one that's diverse, that's hungry, that's motivated, that has talent, potential to succeed, they'll help you build that workforce. And that's really been our experience with State Street. That win-win goes back to about 10 years ago. We started with a founding class in Boston of 22 young adults. This year we'll serve 2,000 young people around the country in 12 different cities. So we've been able to expand with the support of 250 or so employers around the country, everyone from the Facebooks and the Googles of the world to Harvard and Biogen and, of course, State Street. So at a practical level, that program is structured with 6 months of classroom training that prepares someone for a professional career, and then a 6-month internship at one of those great employers. And what we've been able to learn is that when you apply both high expectations and high support, the results can be really tremendous for both of our customers, right? The young people we serve as well as those great employers. 85% of our graduates are earning $30,000 a year. Typically that's tripling household income in a first position in corporate America. And our employers tell us 90% of the time, my intern met or exceeded my expectations when I stack them up against other folks we might be bringing in to do this role. Probably more importantly for us, and certainly for all of you, is employers are also voting with their job recs. They're actually saying, hey, we're going to hire folks out of this. You heard that from one young woman, Paola, in the video. State Street leads the way nationally on that front. Typically about 70% of our interns are going to earn themselves a job offer at State Street, which is obviously transformative for them and their families. And one of the things we love hearing about from State Street is it's really helpful for the firm as well. So that's Europe, and we're excited to share a little more about this with you.
Great. Amanda, as a manager and someone that works in our skills training department, let's hear a little bit from you. If you could introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your role.
Thanks, Mike, and thank you for having us here. So I've worked at State Street for about 7 years. For most of that time, I was a mutual fund skills trainer, where I worked and trained with all of our new employees, interns, and co-ops, and hopefully they walked away from our 13-day program really knowing the ins and outs or the beginning of what life would be like as a fund accountant. I currently work on our employee development team within the same division under State Street University. My day-to-day now consists of running divisional mentoring programs and onboarding programs, which is in place to acclimate and engage our new employees with their first year at State Street. I'm here today because about 3 years ago, one of our State Street alumni approached a senior vice president and said, I have an idea. I would love to get my fellow alumnus together so that we can meet on a regular basis and be a support system for each other. And that's where our team was called in. So we sat around a table. They said, who wants to work with Year Up? Well, I was the first to raise my hand. I was familiar with the program through, and from a training perspective, really familiar with the program. And very excited to jump in and help out this alumni. 3 years later, and dozens of workshops and guest speakers, I'm still here, and the Europe Alumni Group is still working toward the mission of motivating and supporting each other in efforts to continue personal and professional development. In the last year or so, we were approached by our Human Resources Department to make our little group an official group. So now we are one of 32, as Mike mentioned, of State Street's Global Inclusion Employee Networks. I find joy in the fact that our Year Up alumni and interns have a place to network and practical solutions and personal and professional challenges, a place to go to seek out that information. They've received access to speakers, career advancement resources, and tools that they wouldn't otherwise have had. And that's a little bit about me, and I guess to kind of summarize that, people approach me every day and say, I want your job. I am that person who loves my job just for the work that I do with these programs and acclimating and engaging our employees. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Amanda. And Casimiro Cabral, one of our success stories. Let's hear a little bit about you and your role at State Street.
Okay. Wow. Hello, everybody. My name is Casimiro Cabral, and my experience at Europe and State Street was a lot like every other experience at Europe that everybody else had. It was life-changing. It was inspiring, it was constructive, it was motivational, and a lot like this, it was kind of uncomfortable. So you see, upon entering the program, I was just 20 years old, and I had received my GED 4 months prior. It was my first achievement, really. Before that, I had no professional skills whatsoever. I had a really remarkably long curly ponytail and a pair of glasses with lenses that I repeatedly superglued just so they wouldn't fall out. So it was 8:30 a.m. one day on a Thursday, and it was business casual. 30 minutes later, we're in a room of strangers, and we're trying to memorize everybody's name and their favorite foods. If anybody there is Vietnamese, my favorite food was pho. And so it was, again, uncomfortable. And over the next 6 months of interactives, classroom lessons, lunch breaks, group PowerPoint presentations, and feedback Fridays, these strangers became comrades, and a handful are my very close friends today. With the core values that Year Up instilled within us, we became a powerful, educated, and sharp gang of young professionals, fully capable and eager to face the working world. I got an internship, luckily, at the one I had desired. It was State Street at Lafayette Corporate Center in Boston. I was so inspired, and I was filled with belief that I would be successful. And on tough days, I would take the train to South Station just so I could see the big State Street Financial Center. And I'd walk through it just to go to the LCC. And I walked through the building and imagined what it would be like to work at the top. An unfamiliar office every day, but I was never uncomfortable. Again, I was confident in my ability to learn everything there was to learn and inspired to get better day after day. It was a challenge, but I had the support of Europe mentors, Europe advisors, and instructors and comrades the whole way through. And you can rest assured knowing I did progress and I did grow in State Street. I had a lot of help from my manager as well. I was told I was the best intern that pricing group had ever had. And as of January 2012, I was hired as a full-time employee, and I do have a 401k retirement plan with benefits and a salary. Thank you. And a salary that can go with it so I can help provide food and pay the bills for my mother.
Great, excellent. Thank you, Casimiro. I think we're going to do another quick round of questions so quickly. Casey, what does the future of employability look like for young adults in the U.S. today from your perspective and Year Up's perspective?
You know, I think the future of employability, we might as well call it what it is, right? Youth employment in this country is the worst it's been since World War II, right? 50% of recent college grads are unemployed or underemployed. And so there's a system out there that's not working particularly well. So one of the things that we tend to do is say, well, what works about that? You don't have to look at the news too much to realize there's a transformative change that's happening in higher education right now, partly driven by technology, partly because of the crushing debt that many students have to get into, but also I think because there's a paradigm that is outdated of the way in which someone gets prepared for the world at work is you do high school, and you finish that around age 18, and then you go to college, and typically that means, when we talk about it in those terms, 4 years straight of residential classes, 9 to 1 p.m., Monday through Friday, and then you finish with a bachelor's degree, and then you start working. And if you ask any employer, and you all work in corporate responsibility, you know this, we want people to be experiencing a much more blended path where you're experiencing both the skills that you need and the hands-on experience to go. So I do think that's a system that is broken in some fundamental ways in our country. And as Europe has begun to experience what works about this place, we tend to advocate as much as we can about how to do that better. I think fundamentally, one of the things that is very clear, when we ask our employers, hey, what's different about this from the other solutions you can find? They tend to talk about, use different language, right? The soft skills, which most employers care more about, so we should probably call them the harder skills. At Europe, we call them the professional ABCs of attitude, behavior, communication. Those are the things that anyone needs, and fundamentally, you get that through experience. And that means that employers have a role to play in terms of providing some of those experiences. So I think that's going to be a big part of our path forward.
Great, thank you, Casey. Amanda, how do you see the workforce adapting to the future needs of young adults, folks like Casimiro at State Street?
Well, I think that as a global company, we value most about our employees are the qualities that make them unique, their experiences, interests, and capabilities. State Street has 3 core values, as you heard in the video and from Mike: always finding better ways, stronger together, and global force local citizen. And I think that if you just look at those values and how we build around those, I think that that's really going to build a better workforce in the future. There's so many things that we offer our employees, anywhere from our global mentoring, which I've seen pop up on the slide, just a nice online platform where our younger workforce can go to find a mentor, whether it's private, public, open, closed, one-on-one, group mentoring. It's really got that, I hate to call it, but a Match.com component. You go out, you create your profile, and there you go. You start to go out and look for some mentoring. I think the fact that we offer flexible work arrangements for our young adults, I think helps balance that work-life, just gives a work-life balance. When you look at social networking today, we've just launched about a year and a half ago our Collaborate site, which is a social network place where we can connect our employees from a global standpoint and really get people to disperse knowledge and solve problems and answer questions. And then Mike mentioned the employee networks. I think that, as far as our young adults that come into our workforce, just having a place to go, whether it's a school-based network and you're meeting around a table or a workshop or seminar with people that were at your college or through your program at Year Up, anywhere from golf outings, yoga clubs. There's really a network out there to have that sense of belonging, that you're a more intimate part of an organization that's 29,000 employees deep. And besides all this is all an ongoing process. Really reaching out to our employees with career pathways. What's that next step for me? What does that look like? What do I need to get to that next step? I really think that really helps us as a workforce as it relates to the young adults.
Great, thank you, Amanda. And Casimiro, let's bring this home. Last question for you. If you could leave this forum with one important thought of the importance of investing in talent like yourself, what would you want this audience to walk away from today?
Okay, well, just knowing myself, if I ever had one last thing to say, I doubt it would end up being one last thing. So I can only hope that everybody in this audience can understand what I'm saying. I know that investing time into young talent like myself is very important. It's very important because it opens up many possible doors and pathways for that one person to see for themselves, inside themselves. It was certainly a catalyst to my own self-development and self-awareness. My long-term mentor and very good friend of mine, Emmett Folgert, offered me a part-time position as an assistant to the instructors at the very same program where I got my GED. And I had no idea how I could help at all, but Emmett just told me, he looked at me and he said, "You'll be great." As if that was the only thing I needed to hear. And from then on, I simply just did the best I could. I knew better, and when you know better, you do better. While in Year Up, with the support of the class and staff, I was always told I'll do great. I learned to tell myself I'd do great. And that type of positive affirmation goes a very long way, more than most of us will ever believe. And so much opportunity has knocked on my door in the past 2 years, whether I'm ready for it or not. I always answered the opportunity and welcomed it through, knowing that as long as I did my best and I was who I was, I did my very best. Nothing else mattered. Nothing else would matter. And I would be great. So slowly, with the belief I have within myself, I started to see more in others and the others who were around me. Students, friends, family, strangers I'd hear talking on the bus to work. I became a positive influence to a lot of younger kids that I deal with. All it really takes is one person. All it really takes to change someone's life is one person who cares with support. And then a little push to be great, and a little push for that one person to be great. We meet no ordinary people in our lives, and if you give them a chance, everyone has something amazing to offer. We are human, and our potential is limitless. We are all possibilities. And this year, I was able to donate to the community and schools charity in Boston, thanks to Cassie Ways and the Stoneleigh Foundation. And I never thought I'd have a chance to donate to the charity. I was able to meet I was able to invest in my community through an opportunity that I got from State Street speaking at their Youth Violence Prevention Symposium. And with the caring support and encouragement of everyone along my journey, they've helped a simple young man like myself see the world in a whole new light. And I want to help others see for themselves that with a little belief in their own ability and a little belief in others, that they can be anyone they want to be and achieve great things. By investing your time and in yourself or one other person, we can make the world a better place, one person at a time. It all boils down to the individual, and if you believe in yourself, help someone believe in themselves, just as you do and more. Programs like Year Up and companies like State Street do exactly that, year after year after year, by helping youth unlock their full potential and closing the opportunity divide and adding value to the workplace and community. Year Up and State Street, they are great.
All right. So Casey, Amanda, and Casimiro, thank you. Great words, great perspectives, and I hope you all have a better appreciation now of how State Street is working and partnering with organizations such as Year Up to really help drive a sustainable workforce. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate being here.